partners, and we killed it.
Yes.
It was so much fun. Her as the witch, I was the narrator.
Come to join my army of darkness. My creatures have chosen you.
Yes. To the slaughterhouse with you, mate.
Yes.
See if you remember. Do you remember one of our favorite scare spots? You gave it a name.
Under the arbor?
The Tunnel of Fear.
The Tunnel of Fear.
Usually we would go there right after opening. We'd take turns being at different parts of that, and we would do so many great pinballs. We'd also have our good friend Corey with us sometimes.
Oh, yeah. Psychosis was amazing. He was all bandaged and had these hooks that he would clang, and just terrifying. The good thing about the cackle thing was that was really effective. Like, I could do that, and 3 groups up would be like, where is it? Where is it? I won't cackle, I promise. I terrified the kitty a little bit ago.
Going back to us as partners, we just clicked so well.
Yes.
We knew how to talk with just our eyes. And the big thing is just we both didn't like to stay in one area for too long. And we'd circle that park.
Oh, we would. I mean, kid you not, you know, when I would sneak my watch and track my miles, 26 miles over 3 nights, you know, just going back and forth. And, you know, like I said, there were different energies on different nights. You would feel the energy from the crowd, and you could not stay still. If my character stayed still, can I get a picture? There'd be a line. You know, that's one of the things being an iconic character, or any very, very popular character, is that, you know, people want pictures and they want to interact with you. They want to ask you questions, and then, you know, you've got to be polite but evil, and you know, move on. I got to partner with you, and you and I knew each other. We didn't. It was that unspoken. I could look and we knew. You knew. We would find each other. Barnacus. Oh my God, that little monkey. That little monkey. Oh my, hell of an actor. Oh my gosh, just so brilliant. Could be all friendly and pull people in, and then become so threatening and terrifying in the blink of an eye. And we would partner, and I would point to a group and I go, Barnacus, monkey chow. And he would just, that would be my clue to get him. And what'd she call us? Monkey chow? Why are we, you know, and just like lose it. And his favorite thing was to hide in plain sight, and I'd be like, where is my monkey? And he'd chitter. He had this little chitter that he would do. Oh, yeah. And I'm like, where are you? You're driving me nuts. Let's go in the crowd. Adam always had my back when I could find him. He always had my back. You know, I had my staff one time. I had a kid come and grab my staff and try and take my staff, and man, he was on him so fast. Everybody had each other's backs. You know, we would come through. I just love watching everybody else work, and that was a joy of being at Scarowinds, is you got to walk. Later I found out that Dave, as the Overlord, would go in the mazes and go through the mazes. Had I known that, I would have. I didn't know that. Shekinah, was that Shekinah? Yep. The statue. Mm-hmm. Becky, outstanding. Amy as Barbie, incredible. Watching Dave watch Zayd. Oh my gosh, Zayd. Oh my gosh. Just amazing. And they would do, if you were small enough, well, I mean, Dave even squeezed in there a couple of times, but between the vending machines,
yep,
people just want a soda.
Not today.
They have PTSD to this day every time they look at a Coca-Cola. It's
those
phenomenal.
machines were great. Oh, yeah.
Phenomenal. getting to watch my kids come into haunt and Eddie get on Scareforce, and he was a mannequin master, and he had the mannequin puppet.
Yeah, Geppetto.
Yes, and he would terrorize cast members and people alike. I remember one night it rained, and his whole shtick was they didn't want him taking the puppet out, so the whole night he was looking for the puppet, and people knew him and the puppet so well, they're like, where is it? Where is it? Where did it get loose? Why are you not holding it? Where is it? And I just wish we had a small person dressed up as him, just kind of like running through the crowd. It would have been perfect. If I sat here and named all the phenomenal actors that I have worked with over the years, I gotta mention Cuddy. Because Cuddy was one of the people that I was inspired by from the first time that I came to haunt. Which she was in Feeding Frenzy at the time.
Feeding Frenzy, yeah.
And when she would come through haunt, there was no way that you would not notice her. She was a powerhouse, a force to be reckoned with. You could not notice her. Every character that she ever embodied. I mean, she was Madame Pousset in London, and she would have another character literally grab her, and she would be flailing and screaming as they took her off the set, and just phenomenal. You know, it's just like I'm the icon character, and I'm standing there watching. You know, it's like just phenomenal, and then became a fortune teller and developed this Russian accent, and it was just amazing talent. Phenomenal job. The sliders, oh my God. Oh my gosh. The sliders, I gotta give a shout out to Crystal Scrotts, because when she was in Cemetery, that woman would be on knee pads and skitter through. I would walk a wide berth because I'd be terrified she'd skitter out of there. That family, TJ, Tim, Crystal, you guys, uber talented. And then you marry Mari, who's, you know, another uber talented person. Kim and Dav were the Vampire King and Queen, and I know them, I love them. They are a phenomenal couple. When I told the story earlier of being on auditions and the couple sitting there with the dreads and the periods, that was them. And then when I started, they were on Scareforce, and I'm like, oh, hero worship. RC, you know I got to give you a shout out. RC is RC. He's one of a kind. I never got to partner with him. Just the way that he would protect his castmates and be there for them and be the joy in the park, you know, before you go out. Oh, I do have to give a shout out to one who was in London Terror. Brandon worked with this kid. He was in Central one day, and he was like dead tired, and we hadn't even started yet. And I'm like, dude, why are you so tired? And he's like, well, I just walked 5 miles to get here. I didn't have a ride. And I said, that's not going to happen again. And I said, if I see you walking home, I'm going to kidnap you and put you in my car, make sure you get a ride home. And we got word out, and he didn't have a ride to work ever again. He was the town drunk of London, and he had this thermos. And I'm watching him work one night, and he goes up to these kids, and he's like, oh, you want a drink? And I'm like, oh, you're going to get in so much trouble. So he goes over, and he said, what? Yeah. And he tips up his canteen, and Smarties come out. And I was gobsmacked. I was like, it takes a lot to surprise me anymore. Because I figure I've seen it all. And that just blew me away. Unfortunately, he took his own life, and we lost him over the summer. I learned so much about this young man at his memorial. His artwork was all over the place. They played videos of the original music that he would just sit down at his keyboard and play. And I heard the story of when he went to school and he didn't know what class he was in, so he just went into the class, and when the teacher asked him what his name was, he said Barry Allen. I didn't know anything about the Flash, but when I learned about the Flash, that is the Flash's alias, Barry Allen. And I'm like, the creativity that we lost with him. And I'm a therapist now, And at that point, you know, when I was doing the whole became the witch thing, I was also working full time and going through grad school. I took a break between my bachelor's degree and, you know, I took a year and I didn't know if I was going to go finish out my master's. But when we lost him, I said, okay, I'm going to get my master's, because if I'm going to help prevent anything like this happening again, I need to get as much education as I can. I'm passionate about suicide prevention. I'm passionate about LGBTQ rights, transgender rights. When somebody is oppressed, when somebody is being hurt, that's when you'll see the true witch come out. A little bit of Lilith in there, because she doesn't shy away from that stuff. I'm a pretty nice person, but I don't tolerate that kind of thing. And if anybody's in pain, always reach out to somebody if you're in a bad headspace.
Yes.
Somebody is always listening.
And I remember Brandon. I have this small interaction with him because the year he was in London, I was the narrator, and I was really going hard with my character kind of being drunk as well. He pretended to be drunk to lure people in, and then he would snap. That was kind of my thing at that season. So I would be strolling through London being drunk, and then he would be coming over doing his thing, and you know, he'd hold up his little canteen thing, and he'd share his little drink with me. So
well, I mean, we did have a pub in London.
Yeah.
So it was fun.
Great drinks. So we've been talking about Scarowinds a lot and how much it means to us. One thing that comes to mind I always enjoyed was the end of the night when we'd all meet up in Nighthawk Alley. We were all tired, but we had this last 15 minutes, and Nighthawk Alley turned into what the Overlord coined as a Shark Tank of monsters. And it was just a good time to scare people, but also to just be together. I just loved that time.
It was great. It was really, you know, it was our time to all come together and, you know, just check in, make sure everybody's fine. You know,
that's right.
You know, we're all good. Everybody had their own process for that. The sliders would do their thing, and the vending machine menaces would be doing their
Down
thing.
there, yeah.
My thing was when the song Witchy Woman would come on, and I would do my Saturday Night Fever strut
yeah.
down and back and down and back. And then we always knew when Evanescence would come on that it was finally over. And our achy feet and our achy backs and our, you know, just everything, feet, toes, everything would hurt.
And then there was another Scareforce tradition we had, which was usually it would be either the day before last or what, we would all meet up for lunch before coming into the park, and we'd go to Don Pedro's. And that was a really special time.
I have a story about that. The year that, you know, it was me against the Overlord, you know, it was always like, who likes me, who hates me, you know. We kind of got rained out at one point, and we got pulled in, and everybody went and got food, and we were all kind of like hanging out in Matilda's and stuff. So I went and got something to eat, and I came into Matilda's, and everybody on Scareforce was like sitting there, and they were talking and talking, and I walked in, and they stopped talking. And I'm like, really? I felt so defeated and so hurt, and I was just like, I never, you know, they don't get it. I didn't want to hurt anybody, you know, I wasn't trying to, you know, do anything, you know. And I was driving home with my son that night, and I'm just like, I'm so upset, you know, I'm never going to fit in. It's never going to work for me. So, you know, Eddie would always stick up for me. Eddie, you know, he didn't want me to feel bad or anything. So I know he talked to somebody. So that was like a Saturday night or a Friday night, and we were coming to work the next day, and I was just like, you know, why? And he said, Mom, you can't be mad at Scareforce. You can't be mad at Scareforce. And I'm like, what do you know? He said, don't worry about what I know, but just know you can't be mad at Scareforce. So I was like, okay, so maybe I got the wrong impression. So that night that we were going to Don Pedro's, it was just like I gone to pick other people up. They were delayed by other people. I was late. I was frustrated. Like, I like, look, because I was getting the prosthetic, I had no makeup on. I just like dragged in, and I sat down at the table, and I was just like really frustrated and just like, okay, let's just order my food. We'll get as much time as we've got. And then they handed me an envelope, and it had a card in it. Everybody had signed it, and everybody was saying how much they appreciated cookies and brownies and how much, work. And that's what they were talking about when I walked in, and everybody got silent. So that's a lesson. That's a lesson right there, to not judge a book by its cover. Not everything is what you think it might be. And, they did have my back. They did appreciate what I was trying to do. Amazing, that's family. That's just family, I would do anything for anybody on Scarowinds or in Haunt in general. And one of my favorite nights in there was we had free flow where going green, and I had bought this mechanical heart that had a battery and it would just pump, and I hung it in the space where the face hole was, and so it would pump, and I got the blood guy to put blood on it so it was nice and shiny and gooey. So I'm just kind of like sitting back looking through the handholds, and I see these little sneakers lined up, and they can't go anywhere because we're on free flow and everything's backed up. They can't move. So I'm sitting there watching, and they're just kind of like looking around. They go, "Oh, what is that? Oh, it's a heart. Oh, it's moving. You touch it. No, you touch it." And you see the little sneakers getting closer and closer and closer. I just waited for the most opportune moment when they were just reaching out that little hand to dare the other one to touch it, and then I whipped it out of the way. And they were gone, ran over people, gone. My chainsaw guy, who worked the line, he would come in and then he would go out through the freezer. One night I scared this guy, and I don't know how he knew it, but he came through the curtain, and it was the only time I was ever threatened by a guest in the park. And I'm like, oh my gosh, they're going to knock out the old lady in this room and nobody's going to know, right? Just at that moment, freezer door opens, chainsaw guy comes through, takes one look at him, takes one look at my face, and he says, "Nobody does that, a cookie, mama." And man, he got all the way through the maze and got him out. And that was just like one of my favorite memories of that night. Was just like, they didn't know me, but I was part of their family, and they were going to protect me. So yeah, pretty awesome. He was hanging off the crypt higher up, and this lady came through, and she took one look at him, dropped to her knees, and started praying. And he just looked at her, and she wouldn't move. She wasn't like voluntarily moving. She was just praying. So eventually he jumped down, and she took off. We would partner up, and he would always have my back. So, we have rainy nights, we'd have slow nights where it's the same people coming through and through and through. And you get the obnoxious little kids or, grown-up people who can be really obnoxious. So one night we had this kid come through, and I did my thing, and he's just like heckling me and everything. And little does he know that Tim is coming up behind him. So the mother is over here watching the whole thing transpire. And I'm acting like all hurt and offended that this kid is being mean to me, just waiting, just watching and waiting. So Tim gets this kid so good. This kid kind of like ping pongs all over the room because he ran into a mannequin. And the mannequins were hilarious because if you stepped on their foot, they kind of like to do a whoop. And a couple of times, one of us would move around and stand in a different spot. And Tim got in a different spot and too close to the mannequin time. And he came bolting up and he goes, the dude goosed me. And he came out. My best scare story, nobody saw except the people that were there. And it was one of those nights where Dave and I were both in the park, and I was the witch with the big prom dress and the staff. I had to get to the back end of the park, and he was coming around the side, so we couldn't be seen together. So it wasn't a super busy night. We had done opening, the park wasn't crowded, and I'm walking through Nighthawk Alley. And, you know, we're told to partner up and not be alone, but I was alone because I'm just going to book it through. I don't know if I'd done a promo or something, but something, I was alone. There were 3 guys walking this way through Nighthawk Alley. You know, we're just taught, you know, don't put yourself at risk. So I'm giving them a pretty wide berth, and I'm like, okay, you know, I'm not gonna, you know, there's 3 of them, there's 1 of me, I'm in a prom dress, and, you know, I'm a witch, but still. So, I don't know, the closer they got, the more tempting it got. And you'll know if you're a haunt actor after being at haunt all season, you walk through Walmart and you see a group of people coming, and it's really hard. It's really hard to resist the urge, right? So I'm just like, you know what? I don't know. It's like inspiration sparked me, you know? So at the very last minute, I basically took 4 steps in their direction, shot my hand out, because I think I had long gloves or something with something, and just went, ah! And then, you know, kept going. I took 5 steps, and I heard, you killed him! And I turned around, the guy's laid out on the floor, and his friends are standing over him. And I said, is he dead? And they said, no, pity. I just kept walking. But nobody saw it. And I was just like, oh my God, that was probably the most epic scare that I've ever, I literally shut down somebody's central nervous system and they're on the ground. You know?
God. I just
hate that nobody saw it, but I knew it happened, and those 3 guys knew it happened. Because Eddie, my son's 6'9". I am not scared of tall dudes. I am not scared. In fact, they're my target because they don't think that you're going to come after them.
Well, it has been so great hearing all of these stories, and I'm learning so much stuff that I had not heard before. Any last minute things you want to add?
Just thank you for doing this. Thank you for keeping this alive. Because things have really, really changed in Haunt. No more Scarowinds. No more of the family that we knew. A lot of the senior and veteran Haunt people have moved on to different things now. New people that work Haunt don't. The only evidence that they have of what it used to be, what it was, are the videos that Leroy's produced. So even my last season when I was working, the new actors that I was working with would come up with their phones and Leroy's videos and go, where is this? We saw this, and we thought we were getting the Wobble, and we thought we were getting Raise Your Glass, and those videos, and the tribute stories, and, you know, if you want to know everything that, you know, we experienced as actors, and, you know, like I said, mine is a moment in time. There was years and years of history before. Leroy's chronicled a lot of it, and that will live on in history. That, you know, the fact that he calls us back in to do things like this, and since he called me, I have been so excited, you know, just to reminisce and just to spend time with my Haunt family. You know, it's like an old shoe that we just put on, or that perfect pair of jeans that fit just right. You're just so comfortable, and there are so many moments in time and so many experiences that if I had written my wildest imagination, could have imagined some of the things that we've gotten to do and that, you know, we've seen others get to do. And, you know, it's lightning in a bottle. It absolute really lightning in the bottle. And the fact that you were putting this on video for everybody to remember and have to hold every time I see RC. He's got the video playing, and you know, we're all like,
Oh.
we all have big plans to all get together and you know, just spend that time together, because it was phenomenal. It's like, to me, I equate it to like Woodstock. It's that a huge event, one time in your life that you could get everybody together, but you know, it just, you had to be there. That, you know, you can get a taste, you can get a feel, you can get a sense of what we got to experience by watching these videos. You know, I was lucky to work with my kids. So, you know, we've got a road trip wherever in the car, you know, it's like, oh, remember that and this and yeah, and that time. Just incredible. Just incredible. So thank you for keeping this alive.
Of course. It's so important. And I know there's other haunts out there who I hope have just as strong communities as we had at Scarowinds. Please reach out if you do. We'd love to hear from you.
Netherworld.
Netherworld.
I know your
Oh, yeah.
setup is phenomenal. I got to guest haunt there one night, and their
Jealous.
sets and it's just their setups is, you get popsicles. I can't tell you how impressed I was.
Like I said, if you work at haunts and want to share your story, let me know down in the comments below. Thanks for watching this video. Be sure to hit like and subscribe if you haven't already. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. And thank you guys who continue to support this show. That's going to wrap it up for now. So until next time.
Keep it spooky.
Subscribe and hit that bell notification